What's going on, everybody? I hope everybody out there is having a fantastic day. I hope you guys can hear me. And actually, just give me 1 second. Grab some stuff over here. We're gonna break this down, man. So stay tuned for just a second here. Alrighty. Okay, so wow, man, what can I say, man? Just give me 1 more second. Let me fix this. Let me fix the thumbnail and all that good stuff real quick. First and foremost, I appreciate every single one of you guys that are here with me because it's 11:30 a.m. You guys could be anywhere else in the world, but you guys are here with me, and we're gonna be chilling. We're gonna be talking. I have Raid the Tape joining me here in just a second. And I want to break this down, man, because I think the Las Vegas Raiders have done a fantastic job over the last couple of days. I want to know what you guys think, man. Do you guys like the draft? Do you guys not? Let me know in the comments below how you guys feel about it. Personally, I think the Raiders have done a fantastic job from the standpoint of you're getting players that are going to actually make a difference, right? You're getting those guys that will come in and have that impact for your roster. You have guys that you're going to have those guys that can come in and make other players better, right? And yesterday specifically, oh man, I can't wait to break this down and talk to you guys about the guys we got yesterday, because the players we picked up yesterday, I could not be more pumped up about it. And if you guys were here with me yesterday while we broke down, or while I was kind of live, we talked a little bit about Trayvon Merrick. You guys know how I've been feeling about Merrick and how I've kind of felt about him in the past. And I'm very glad the Raiders, we passed on him with pick 17, and then we came back around, traded up in the second round, and then we got him in the second round, pick 43. That right there is value, right? That's the best safety coming out of the class, and the Raiders get him with pick 43. That's value, man. That's value. On top of that, we also got two other very solid players, if you ask me. Divine Diablo. Mike Mayock's already said he's going to be a weak side linebacker for the Raiders. I'm pumped up about that pick because Diablo is another. He was a safety in college, and Mike Mayock said he'll be a weak side linebacker. He was a safety in college, which means he can cover, right? And I remember when I was watching Virginia Tech's tape, specifically for Caleb Farley, Diablo kept sticking out. I'm like, who is this guy? And I think it was number 17. I was like, I kept seeing him making play after play after play, laying big hits and just dominating a bunch of people. At that point, I was like, oh, wow, like this guy looks good. And me and Honcho talked about him a little bit in our live streams that we've done twice now. He was a safety that we liked, right? And the Raiders got him in the third round to play linebacker. On top of that, today's picks, and we'll talk about Koontz a little bit as well, who was the other guy we got. Talk about freak of an athlete and just the kind of way he plays football, like the little twitch he has in his game. Mayock talked about that yesterday. Again, I think the Raiders have done a fantastic job. Malcolm Koontz and Trayvon Diablo. I think that's how you, or it's Divine Diablo. I think that's how you say his name. We got those two guys yesterday. Both guys are going to play, man. Both guys are going to play. I think with Koontz specifically, especially based on what Mayock was kind of saying, he said that Malcolm Koontz has like this twitch in his game. And I watched his film, man. And if you guys don't follow me on Instagram or Twitter, go follow me. You can just put in Sanjit. There's not that many people in the world named Sanjit. So I'm pretty sure I probably come up if you guys put me in on Twitter or Instagram. But Koontz, man, like when I watched his film, I had to do a film study, and it wasn't a film study. It was just a couple of plays that I really liked against Penn State specifically, but I do plan to do a film study of Koontz, Diablo. I've already done a Merrick as well as Gillespie film study, and that's on my second YouTube channel. That's the channel name is The Football Scout, so you guys can put that into YouTube. But those guys, man, like Gillespie and Merrick, I liked before the Raiders got him. So that's not me being Raider biased, man. I was high on Gillespie, and I don't even know where the draft is at right now. I'm going to actually just pull it up on my phone really quickly because I do want to see where the pick is. I want to see what the Raiders get. Let's go through some of these comments. Leave a comment, leave a super chat. For sure, I always will get to super chats. But leave a comment. I'm gonna try to be here for at least an hour. I have Raid the Tape joining me here in just a second. If you guys don't follow him, go check his channel out. It's Raid the Tape. He does film studies and stuff like that as well. But yeah, man. So we're right now in the 5th round, which is crazy because Davion Nixon just got picked in the 5th round. That's nuts, man. And the Raiders there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 picks until the Raiders make their 5th round pick. And a guy that I absolutely love, I think he's still on the board, and that's Jamar Johnson. I don't know what the hell happened to this guy because I'm not the only one that's been high on this guy. Like a lot of people had 1st and 2nd round grades on Jamar Johnson, and he's still available. When you go to NFL.com's webpage, he is like one of the highest ranked players left on the board. There's him and Stone Fortsey, who's a tackle from Florida. Deontay Brown, guard from Alabama, is still there. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but Hamza Nasirudeen's still there, man. Damn, that's crazy. If the Raiders want to fix their defense right now, you take Nasirudeen or Jamar Johnson. You get one of those guys. That's crazy that these guys are slipping so much. Let's go through some of these comments. Kings Only 710 said, loving the draft so far. Just need a D tackle or linebacker. Well, the thing with the linebacker, I agree with the D tackle. We need a D tackle, right? And I think Twyman's still there. I don't think he was ever picked. I'll have to confirm that. But the thing with the linebacker is Diablo is going to be our linebacker. Like he's the one guy that he's the one guy that we got to play that linebacker role, specifically the will linebacker. Morrow and Corey Littleton are the guys that are about to get replaced by Diablo. I think Diablo is definitely the real deal. OC, I could not agree with you more, man. Fantastic draft, man. Mike Mayock always hits with these late run guys. And, again, I know it hasn't all panned out the way it should have, but you guys got to keep in mind, right? These guys are still young. Right. And that definitely plays a big role into how long it takes for players to develop. And it looks like and I'm not going to talk about the players that are being drafted because there's so many late round guys. But I do want to talk about one guy specifically that was drafted, and that's Brendan Hymas from Nebraska. The Chargers just took him. I only want to mention it because it's the Chargers, and we play the Chargers every single year twice. I love Hymas, man. I think he's the real deal. And the Chargers just got him in the 5th round. Don't forget that name, man. Brendan Hymas. It's pronounced Hymas, but it looks like it's saying Jameis. He's from Nebraska. He's an offensive tackle. Man, I'm pumped up, man. Kevin, thank you for confirming that. Twyman is still available, which is crazy because I had him as one of my top ranked prospects, man. Someone said Nasirudeen is gone. I thought I just saw him. Someone confirmed that for me. Is Hamza Nasirudeen still on the board? Is he not on the board? I'm gonna add my man Raid the Tape because he is here with me, and I know he's pumped up about this as well. So let me add my man right here. What's going on, DG? How you doing?
It was good, man. Man, I'm super excited. I'm pumped. I'm so glad with these picks, man. This has been falling in line.
Dude, can you believe that we got Gillespie in the 4th round? Or was the 4th round? I think 4th round, right? Or was it the 5th round?
We traded up and grabbed him.
Okay, yeah, yep. That's right. Which is crazy because he's a good football player, man. He's a good football player.
He was one of them. I feel like he was one of the Senior Bowl standouts.
He was one of the Senior Bowl standouts.
But like you were saying, I was before I hopped on, I'm surprised Jamar Johnson's still on the board, but there's a lot of safeties. You got Jamar Johnson, LeCount, Washington, Nasirudeen, your guy. How you feel about that?
That's crazy, man. I wasn't sure if he was going to go high or not because of the ACL injury. Pre-ACL, man, there's no way he's not a top-tier player. Like, I would have been shocked if he did not go in the top pre-ACL injury, but obviously with his ACL injury, that obviously impacted his stock. But I'm still surprised that he's still available, though, man. Like,
the FSU backs are good too.
That's what I'm saying. He went to a top tier school.
Yep.
We're about to be on the clock again. There's I think 6-7 picks before we pick. We still have our 5th. I don't think that was part of it. But yeah, man, it's crazy. So let's discuss this real quick. I want to know your opinions. All right. So yesterday we got Trayvon Merrick, which is crazy because you just jumped off, and then the second you jumped off, and Merrick we traded up, and I was surprised. How do you feel about that Merrick pick?
Man, I'm juiced, dude. I just want the season to start right now. I want to get my Merrick jersey and my Diablo jersey. I just want to start the season like right now.
It's crazy.
Time to play. What's up, Kevin Lurker?
That's crazy, bro. Because you're right, man. Like that was one of the players we wanted. We wanted Merrick, and like the Raiders don't do what we want, especially not in the first round. Especially not in the first round. But in this case, man, they went out and got Merrick, and then on top of that, we talked safeties, and I talked with Raider Honcho a lot about safety specifically. But then, like, we talked about Tyree Gillespie and how we would be cool with him. We talked about Divine Diablo and how we'd be cool with him because Diablo was a safety in college, right? Specifically, if you watch the Alabama game, I think on the second or third play of the game, Gillespie laid a huge hit on Devontae Smith. And he stuck out to me right away. Like the second I saw that tape, I was like, okay, this guy, who is this guy? And I started looking into him and I liked him. And obviously he kind of fell to us, right? Or actually we went up and we got him, right? How do you feel about Gillespie, Diablo, and Merrick? And where do you see their role? Like what kind of role do you think those guys are going to play?
Well, based off the press yesterday with Mike Mayock, I'm assuming Diablo is going to try to fill in that will spot, which I'm not 100% sure about. We'll get into that later. And then Gillespie, though, man, it's like when we were talking about Nick Bolton, right? And the only thing I took from watching Nick Bolton's film was seeing Gillespie. That's it. That's all I took from watching Nick Bolton's film. After that, I was like, Tyree, we got to get this dude. I was like,
that's crazy that you say that about Gillespie because that's exactly what I was doing. Now, Nick Bolton's a great football player. Don't get me wrong. I think the Chiefs took Bolton, right? So the Chiefs got Nick Bolton. He's a great football player, but I was watching him as well, and that's exactly when I noticed Gillespie. Specifically in the Alabama game, that was the first game I put on for Nick Bolton. I stopped watching Nick Bolton. I started watching Tyree Gillespie. Yep. It's crazy, man, because like right now, if I had to grade this draft, I think the Raiders are hitting, man. And I know Friday or on Thursday we were not happy with that initial pick, right? With Leatherwood. Yep. The more I watch Leatherwood, the more I like. At the same time, now that I see that we got Merrick, Gillespie, Diablo, and I want to talk to you about Koontz, man. I definitely want to talk about that, but I want to get into these 3 super chats real quick. A huge shout out to anybody that leaves a super chat. It really does help this channel. On top of that, I will 100% answer any super chat comment 100% of the time. At the same time, if you guys are not members to this channel, I will try to bring up member comments. They stick out right away. So, but with that, Johnny Perez left $10 super chat. Thank you. Thoughts on Dylan Moses, Alabama linebacker. Could have been a first rounder last year. Good closing speed, good at defending the zone runs. Kind of an injury history and not a big hitter, but think we could take him. So that's the thing, right? He has an injury history. He is kind of smaller, which I don't see that being an issue, right? Like, I don't know if he's a true middle linebacker, but he could still play on the inside. He can still line up, and do a lot of different things. I don't know if he would have been a first rounder last year. I don't remember scouting him too much and kind of knowing the hype, so I can't confirm or deny that. But I like Dylan Moses, and again, he played at Alabama, so he's played against top tier players, right? What do you think, man? Would you take him? How do you think about Dylan Moses?
Well, what Perez said, I think last year he was a lot higher. He was rated a lot higher, I believe, last year. Okay. This year he kind of dropped. I don't really like Moses too much though.
Would you be mad if you took him?
Especially at inside linebacker, when you get to that pro level, it's going to be a little. I feel like he just doesn't have that. It just doesn't have that it factor for middle linebacker. He would have to get moved outside, or I just don't see a play for him in the NFL, honestly.
See, and that's the thing too, right? Is like people don't think about this, but at Alabama, right, when you consider college talent, at Alabama, he had the best defensive lineman in front of him. When he comes to the Raiders or whatever team it is, he's not going to have the best defensive lineman in front of him. He's going to have like average guys. It's going to be even harder. And he couldn't play the inside as well, in my opinion, at Alabama. I think he would kind of struggle in the NFL. But thank you for the super chat. Huge shout out to you. I do want to mention also, because I am looking at the draft here, the Baltimore Ravens just took my guy, man. They took Shaun Wade in the 5th round. We'll pick 160. I think I have a feeling that Shaun Wade's going to be a superstar, especially with the Baltimore Ravens, because they produce good secondary players.
Yep.
Have you ever watched Shaun Wade? Have you ever followed him at Ohio State?
Yeah, I watched them. But honestly, I'm tired of Ohio DBs. As a Raiders fan,
I hear you. I hear you.
I was just like, nope, we can't even go that direction anymore. We just need to go something new. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's why I'm kind of glad with this draft, because when you think about our previous drafts, it was like almost like we were aiming at players for specific schools. You know what I mean? But this draft, we're getting players from just anywhere. You know what I mean? Just talent, doesn't matter which part of the country you're at, you know? But that's the same reason that I was leaning towards Leatherwood, is because he was Alabama, and I was like, who's the best available Alabama lineman? And it was basically Leatherwood, and that's a good point. That's a good point. After that pick, we just went all over the place. We went TCU, Virginia Tech, Buffalo, Missouri.
Missouri. And that's a real good point that you say that, because last year and the year before, we were taking guys from like, Tanner Muse from Clemson. We were taking these guys with like, the SEC, like high level or high team guys, right? Instead of taking, it was almost like we were choosing a team instead of choosing the player. And you're right. This year we're choosing the player, right? And I don't know what the hell it is with Mike Mayock, but he's doing it the correct way. I don't know if it's Gus Bradley and Gus Bradley's giving a ton of input.
You know what I mean?
He's doing it the correct way, you know. Huge shout out to Guggen Sandy for $4.99 super chat. Huge shout out to you. I really appreciate it. Best draft just from the value alone in a long, long time. This defense has a great chance to be a top 10 D. Let's go. I couldn't disagree with that, man. I don't know if it'll be this year that we could be a top 10 D because the guys are still young. They're still rookies, right? They got to adjust to the game speed. They have to adjust to the talent differences, especially if, for Missouri, you play great teams, but at Virginia Tech, you might not play the same level of talent, right? So I do think that the potential is there, right? Like the potential is 100% there. What do you think about that?
Yeah, the potential, I feel like the potential is there all the time. You know what I mean? Sure. But I think the biggest key is Gus Bradley at this point. You know what I mean? I feel like in the past, we really didn't have a defensive coordinator like him. When JDR came in, I thought maybe we would have had a better defense, but it really didn't pan out. Yeah. So maybe with Gus Bradley, it could get there, but that brings to me thinking about our DBs, and it's like our DB room is really young. And if we cut Heath, our oldest DB would be Carl Joseph.
Him or Nevin Lawson. I think we have Lawson. Lawson suspended.
I don't want those to be our vets. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, we could still bring in Sherman or Casey Hayward too.
Exactly. So do you think we might cut Heath and potentially Rashard and pick one of those guys up or something like that?
So I wouldn't be mad if we kept Heath. Like I don't have an issue with it because Diablo's not going to be a safety, right? We got to keep in mind he's going to be a linebacker, so he'll take up a linebacker roster spot. If you think about our actual safeties, right? We have Carl Joseph, Merrick, Abram, Heath. Who's the other guy that we have? Levitt.
Levitt, yeah.
Levitt. So that's what 5 safeties.
Diablo and Gillespie, so that's 7.
Well, Diablo's gonna be a linebacker for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's what I wanted to get to. That's definitely what a topic I wanted to talk about is what did you think about Diablo at linebacker?
So here's the thing, right? Like I watched his film again, not last night, or it was last night because we drafted him yesterday. So I was in bed and I was watching his film on my phone because I had the Google Drive app, right? And that's where I have all my film stored. And I was watching his film, and the thing that it kept sticking out to me over and over again is how much he plays in the box, right? He's already pretty much lined up at linebacker for Virginia Tech. He was lined up, right next to the linebackers, even though they're playing a nickel D. He's kind of like that nickel defender, but he was closer to the tight end than like out towards the slot wide receiver.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: he's 220 pounds, 225 pounds, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's not a big, like, super big guy, but he is big. I think he's like 6'3", right?
Yeah,
well, let me confirm.
Yeah. For a DB, the dude's huge.
He's a big football player, right?
For a DB, the dude is huge.
Yeah, for a DB, he's too big for a DB. So he's 6'3", 226 pounds. And I think that could translate, right? He's 226. He's gonna get stronger. He's gonna get bigger. He'll get faster. Again, I think he'll end up being 235, right? And how much heavier is Nicholas Morrow, right? Nicholas Morrow's
less than 220, isn't he?
He's around there for sure. So it's not like if Nick Morrow can be linebacker, there's no way Diablo can't, right?
Yeah.
That one pumps me up, man. But we got another super chat. Huge shout out to you, Jim Bean. Trading up to get Merrick returned my faith in Mayock and Gruden. I was shook after day one. Do y'all feel the same? I couldn't disagree with you, bro. Like, that is that's the way to sum it up for me personally. I was losing faith in Mayock and Gruden when you take Alex Leatherwood over Christian Darrisaw. Over Tevin Jenkins, I'm okay with that because I know Jenkins, watching him, his hips kind of scare me a little bit. But Christian Darrisaw, he's a next level football player. And of course, I understand that Alex Leatherwood could potentially have a higher ceiling. And maybe that's why they took that pick. So I get it. But when you trade up to get Merrick, when you get Diablo, Koontz, I didn't even watch Koontz before we drafted him. But after I drafted him, specifically after Mayock had his presser and he said some specific keywords of Koontz. Did you watch that presser, by the way?
Yeah, I did.
And don't quote me word for word exactly what was said, but he said something to the tune of, I saw a couple of plays, and he compared it to how, when we got Josh Jacobs, how he compared it to Josh Jacobs. He said that he took a couple of plays, he put it on a USB drive, he took it to Gus, he took it to John, and he was like, hey, check this guy out. And then he said that basically everybody got on board from the second they watched his clips. Here's the thing, man. I watched his clips and I got on board too, bro. So here's the thing. He went to Buffalo, which I know people are going to say, he has that Khalil Mack connection. He's not Mack, right? Let's not put that on him. But Mayock even said that he did not think that Koontz would be there in the third round. So he was surprised that he was still there. In my opinion, when I watch Koontz, one, he's a pass rusher specific player, right? He rushes the passer. On top of that, he doesn't play a whole ton outside of that. He rushes the passer. First and second downs, he comes off the field. But against Penn State, and Penn State's a good football school, right? He dominated Penn State. I saw him win at least 17 times that he was in the game, and he's probably in the game like a total of 27 snaps. I put that clip up on Twitter and Instagram, so if you guys are following me, you guys can see that clip there. But were you able to watch any of his tape? I think I sent you his tape, right? Were you able to watch it?
I had watched it. I liked him. He got some good long arm. He has a good long arm. That thing is nasty.
Hey, that long arm reminds me of Khalil Mack, man.
Yeah. And I was thinking, like, I wonder if that's a Buffalo thing, like at that school. Like, is that a technique they just be teaching out there in Buffalo?
Hey, it could be, man, because he's not Khalil Mack, obviously, right? Khalil Mack was a special Hall of Fame type of talent. Damn, man, I gotta pause this really quickly. The first Ben Bad, thank you for the super chat. Huge shout out to you.
The Broncos did take Jamar Johnson.
Yeah, that one's hurt, man. That one hurts me right there because I have faith that Jamar Johnson will be an All-Pro player at the next level. If there's
that's a good place to be if you're a DB.
No, and if and that too, Big Fangio's still the coach there, right? I don't think that's changed. And Big Fangio can take good talent and turn it great. Jamar Johnson is going to be a great football player, and I wanted him. I put him as 1B to Trayvon Merrick, who's 1A. So that's how high I thought of Jamar Johnson. And he went with pick 164, which is crazy because I can tell you right now, there are not 163 better football players than Jamar Johnson. I guarantee you that right now.
Did you ever watch any of his? Because I heard he played corner. Did you watch him play corner at all?
I did not.
Yeah.
Honcho told me he played corner. I didn't even know he played corner. Honestly,
I didn't see any of that tape. I just seen him at safety.
I seen him at safety too. But the thing is, it's like Indiana had a top 5 defense last year.
Yeah.
And there's a play specifically where he baited Justin Fields into a pick. It's a play that I kind of broke down in my Jamar Johnson video. But that pick that he baited Justin Fields in, when you look at the way he did it, and then you keep that play in mind, and then you look at some of his other plays, the guy, in my opinion, is a smart football player. Danny Garcia, huge shout out to you for this $20 super sticker. I don't even know what a super sticker is. I didn't know you can do that, but huge shout out to you, my man.
It's it shows something.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Is it? Is there
something else? It's a waving flag. That's what I guess it's like an emoji.
Okay. I appreciate it, Danny, for reals, because you've been here. You're always supporting. So I appreciate that. Undertow said, LOL, Jamar Johnson is not an all-pro. Of course he's not. He just got into the NFL. But I'm saying that I think he can become an all-pro football player. I watch film. I know he watches film. There's players that are special. And here's the thing, right? People are going to say, well, then why didn't he go in the first, second, or third round? Buda Baker was special. A special player coming out of college, and he went in the second round. Tyrann Mathieu was a special football player, and he went in the second round. Trayvon Merrick, we're saying, is a special football player, and he went in the second round. Sometimes there's guys that just fall, and it is what it is, right? Maybe there's especially safeties. Safeties. It's kind of that position where, like,
and in this draft, you gotta think half the first round was linemen and quarterbacks.
Exactly. A third. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, lineman, quarterback, receivers. That's literally half the first round, right? Yeah. So yeah, safeties, and it's a hard position to hit on. So there's a couple of players that I want right now. So the Panthers just picked. The Raiders are now on the clock. The Panthers took a corner, Keith Taylor from Washington, who I like. But yeah, man, the Raiders.
Who are we taking?
What position? What position you think we got?
I don't know. I think right now it's kind of difficult. I don't know what we're doing at D tackle. Everybody's on a 1-year contract. Someone in the comments told me that, and that was a good point. And then I guess we could use some depth at O-line still. Because the thing is with DBs, I feel like we just need – I just feel like we need a veteran at DB. So I'm done with all these young DBs. We need a
we
veteran.
Just took another DB.
Oh man.
Let me confirm this is correct. I don't want to say it if it's
I gotta stop jinxing us.
For reals, man. So real quick, the question, what's your guest's YouTube channel? It's right there. It's Raid the Tape.
Raid the Tape, y'all. Right on YouTube. Go check me out. Add me on Instagram, Raid the Tape.
Absolutely,
appreciate y'all watching, man. Shout out Raider Nation.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, and I appreciate you coming on because doing a live stream by yourself for 30 plus minutes is very difficult. It's a lot of silence, and if there's not silence, I have to continuously talk and my voice goes out. So shout out to you.
That's why you gotta get that tea, man. You gotta get that tea, man.
Absolutely, man, because people have been saying that, like, you got to get tea or you got to get some honey or something like that. So
I drink tea every day, though. A little bit of honey in it. Okay.
So do you not drink coffee?
No, I don't drink coffee, man.
That's crazy because I drink coffee. I only drink 1 cup of coffee, but I always drink coffee. Today I actually went out to – I never go out to eat. I always eat at home. I always drink coffee at home. Today I decided I was going to go get some coffee. But let's talk about Nate Hobbs, man. So the Raiders – it looks like it is confirmed. We took another DB, which is crazy because we're fixing this secondary. And I don't know if he's a safety or a corner because some people on Twitter are saying he's a corner. But I think he played a little bit of or people on Twitter are saying he's a safety, but I think he played corner at Illinois. I haven't even watched him, to be honest.
Who'd you say we grabbed?
Nate Hobbs, safety or corner. I don't even know what he is. I think he's a corner. Maybe he plays the slot. We'll have to check that one out, man. That one's gonna be
into this one right here. Y'all know anybody in the comments know about this one? What do y'all think about the pickup right here? What y'all think? Let us know.
So here's the thing, man. Like, I think we should have taken
safety though. Another one?
I think we should have taken a guard or a defensive tackle. Dude, Jalen Twyman's still on the board, man. And I haven't watched the
Nate
corner
Hobbs.
we just took, Hobbs, yeah. But I'm gonna check him out for sure today. I think Marvin Wilson already got drafted, by the way, right? Or is he still on the board? He might still be on the board. I would have taken Marvin Wilson too.
And that's what I was saying about D tackle earlier, because it's like, do we get another D tackle? Because they're all on 1-year contracts, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, do we grab do we grab a dude in the draft that's going to be on a longer term contract? So then whoever we want to bring back next year, since they're all on 1-year contracts, we're going to pick and choose. Okay, who played well? You know what I mean? Who do we want to stick around? Who's with the culture? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we're going to have to do next year at D tackle. So
it's going to be interesting next year.
Yeah, like, we got to be prepared. Like, we're going to sit there and be getting D tackles next year.
So I wouldn't be opposed to the Raiders trading a first-round pick for a defensive tackle, like a pass rushing special defensive tackle. Like last year we could have gotten DeForest Buckner. Man, like the Niners were trading him away they traded him to the Colts for literally 1 first-round pick. We could have done that. We could have, like, would you rather have DeForest Buckner or Henry Ruggs right now? Right? Like, I would rather have. Yeah, you know, like, it fixes a huge need. But the super chat from Eric Delk says, what's the chances of us running a 4-2-5 defense? That's basically just the nickel defense. I think we're going to do that a lot, man. I think that's like 60% of our D is going to be nickel, right? I think it's going to be interesting, man, because, like, you have Diablo. You have another slot corner. I don't know if he's going to be a slot corner, if he'll be a safety. I don't even know how much he's going to play, to be honest with you.
Who, Diablo?
Not Diablo. I think Diablo's going to play a lot. I think what's going to happen is I think Diablo's going to come in and play a lot. And over time, I think he's going to slowly push Morrow and Littleton out. I don't think those two guys will be on our roster next year.
Okay.
Because they're the same position, right? They're all weak side linebackers. They're all, coverage guys technically. I wouldn't be surprised if because Morrow's on a 1-year contract and Morrow wants to get paid, right? Morrow wants $6-7 million a year. I don't think we give him that.
I didn't even really care if we brought him back or not.
I didn't care either.
Because for an instance like this, we got Diablo. Shit, just throw Diablo out there or something.
That's the thing, right? Like,
pay Morrow.
There's no point in that too. Like, Littleton's already getting like what, $8, $9, $10 million, maybe more. I don't know the exact.
We're paying Littleton already. We're paying Krakowski already. So it's like, and that's why I wasn't very high on this taking a linebacker early when people wanted a linebacker, in the first round, because I'm like, we already paying these linebackers. And it's like, we're going to be in the super chat. Someone has said, are we going to be running that 4-2-5? Yeah. It's like, so what are you saying? There's only going to be 2 linebackers on the field, but you want to go get a linebacker early.
But that's the thing, though, right? With the 4-2-5, that's just the nickel defense, right? That's
exactly.
Just
so it's only 2 linebackers.
But we already do that. We already do that. Yeah. We already do the with 2 linebackers. So yeah, we don't need 3 linebackers. We don't need Morrow. We don't need Littleton. We just need Krakowski, who will be a 3-down guy, plays every single snap, and then we got Diablo, right? Mm-hmm. Assuming Diablo actually does something, right? Yeah. At the same time, Littleton's under contract this year and next year. But this year is guaranteed. Next year is not. So next year we can cut him and we lose absolutely nothing. Raiders Football Talk left a $2 super chat. Huge shout out to you. Gus and Mayock doing their thing these last days. I could not agree more, man. I could not agree more. I don't know about Hobbs. I haven't watched his film, so I can't be honest with you guys on that one. But the other picks, man, like Merrick and Diablo, I love Tyree Gillespie, man. And I watched the tape of Malcolm Koontz. And is that even how you say his last name? Is it Koontz?
I think it's Koontz.
He looks good, man. Yeah. I don't know if I asked you this already. Have you watched Gillespie? Like, did you or not? You said you watched Gillespie. And you said you watched.
He was a top 5 safety for me.
I think I had him as a top 5 safety as well. And if it wasn't a top 5, I know I mentioned him for sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, Gillespie's a guy, man.
I like him. It's crazy because I had Moerick number 1. I think I had Gillespie at like 5. But this safety this year in drafting safeties was all over the place because I think the first safety off the board was Holland, then it was Richie Grant,
yep.
then Morid,
Yep.
and then who was after that? I can't even remember. But think about we just grabbed Gillespie pretty late. Jamar Johnson barely just got drafted, right?
Yep.
So and I had Jamar Johnson as my number 3 safety, I think.
Okay. So that's crazy, man. Because safeties go kind of late. I didn't really watch any of the tight end prospects, but someone was mentioning earlier that the Raiders should get another tight end. And I don't think I agree with that because I think like Morrow's under contract, Waller's under contract. And I think Morrow needs a chance to play because I think he could be something. I think he can be.
Yeah, he's gonna make something shake. He's gonna make something happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's good, Raiders football talk?
Yep. Got that super chat. Someone said we need a guard and we need a fresher defensive tackle. I think we need a guard too, man. I mean, of course, though, if we haven't taken a guard, that has to be because Mike Mayock, and Gruden and maybe Tom Cable, they believe in John Simpson, right? That would be the only reason why we don't get a guard is because they have faith in that guy. What do you think about that? You think that's why we haven't taken a guard?
Honestly, I don't know. Do we trust John Simpson? Is that what this is all about? Are they high on, you know what I mean? That's one of their Clemson dudes. I mean, I'm not sure how high they are on them. I don't think they're high on Brandon Parker. But I would definitely want to go grab a guard. I agree with Hakeem. And a fresher defensive tackle. It's like I was saying, what are we doing at defensive tackle? We got all these guys on one-year contracts. You know what I mean? And we have five of them.
Yep. Yeah, and I don't know if like Quentin Jefferson and Jonathan Higgins, I don't know if these guys are going to bring a pass rush, right? And for as many good players that were picked
Lester Cotton. Someone commented Lester Cotton. Don't forget about him.
That's true. No, that is true. And I like Lester Cotton a lot, man. And obviously we didn't have a preseason last year, and because of that, he ended up getting cut. But he re-signed with the Raiders, and he'll have a shot to prove himself, man. He'll be competing with John Simpson, man. And I have a question for you, DG. Let's say Lester Cotton outperforms John Simpson. Do you think the Raiders just keep both guards, or do you think they move John Simpson to like practice squad? Which I don't think you would, because technically he's under contract for like 4 or 5 years. Like, what do you think would happen if that was the case?
So right now we got Incognito, Good, Simpson, Cotton.
Nick Martin is a backup center. I don't know if he'll end up being a guard for us.
I guess it depends on how many linemen we'd want to keep. I think it would depend.
Yeah,
I could see them keeping them both.
I think maybe, yeah. I think 4 guards. I think we only have 4 guards on the roster right now, technically. Eric Magnuson. I don't know how to say his last name. Magnuson. I don't know if he feels a center or what, but yeah, I guess Vickers could be a good defensive tackle as well.
Some people are saying, man, I missed that, but it was about Abram. Some people were talking about Abram. What do you guys think about Abram, huh?
Let me find that comment.
We got all these young safeties now.
I saw that as well. Here it is. Let's hit the super chat. Sorry, I almost missed that one. Are the Raiders putting Abram on notice with all these moves we have made at safety? I actually just put a tweet out because someone asked me a similar question. I'm going to give you my thoughts, and then DG, I want to know what you think as well. So here's the thing, right? I don't think Jonathan Abram is being put on notice. I think what's happening is Gus Bradley wants versatility. And at the same time, I think Gus Bradley and Mike Mayock understand that our defense, especially in the secondary, needs help. Right? In the offseason, what have we done? We brought in 3 defensive linemen. We brought back Morrow, which is a linebacker. We let go of some of our secondary players. So we haven't gotten a lot of secondary players. And I also said this on Twitter, and some people disagree with me. Some people agree with me. I think Jonathan Abram is our best defensive player. And the only other guy that comes close that you can say, if it's not Abram, is Nick Krakowski. But it's one or the other, right? Yeah. Either way, Abram's still the second best defensive player at the very least. There's no way that these moves impact Jonathan Abram's status in the team, right? What do you think about that?
Mike Mayock, I feel like he said himself that Abram and Merrick would be the guys, if I remember correctly. And I think I also seen someone comment that
he did say that. He did say that.
I don't know. Abram is trash. I see someone comment. I don't think Abram is trash. And me personally, I wouldn't say Abram is our best player on defense. I would say maybe. Are you talking about like right now after all the signings, or just based off last year?
I was saying based off of last year specifically.
Yeah, based off last year.
I wanted to say right now, right? Like
I would say
even
he's
right
number
now.
3. I would say he's like number 3 because I like Krakowski a lot. I liked him when he was on the Bears, and I wanted us to go get him. You know what I mean? He was sitting on the bench. You know what I mean? And I knew he was solid because he went in there to play some games when I believe Roquan Smith got hurt. But he was solid, and I like him. I think last year he was our best player. I think he was our best player. And then I would go probably Mullen. I think Mullen is slept on, and he's just out there left to dry a lot.
Okay.
But I think Abram, to your point, dude has the highest ceiling almost on our probably does have the highest ceiling on our defense. The way he closes in on tackles is like no other player, I feel like, in the league. Like nobody's coming down from safety that far out to like that fast.
That's tough.
Nobody. And
that's hard.
Even looking at the safeties throughout the draft, none of them were just all of a sudden would pop in on the screen. And that's what I would look for. That's what I like to look for when it comes to pursuit, because when the camera's zoning in when on the ball carrier, and then your guy's not just popping in randomly, then his pursuit that kind of makes me realize, okay, he's not getting there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And John Abram, dude, when you do film on him, all of a sudden it's out of nowhere. He's just going boom, like, oh snap! Some dude just came flying into the camera.
See, and that's the thing.
John Abram has the highest ceiling.
See, that's the thing though, right? Is you just touched on it, right? The camera is on the running back, right? And out of nowhere, you see Jonathan Abram make a tackle. But what you guys don't realize is Jonathan Abram's coming from 10, 15 yards deep, running full speed, right? The angle, the way he has to hit someone, the pursuit, all that, you guys don't see that, right? Unless you watch the All-22 film. In that case, you'll see it. I watched the film. I think Jonathan Abram, the things he does, safeties don't do it, right? What Jonathan Abram does, safeties don't do it, man. You see him tackle some of the best running backs in the NFL and not be scared, right? Like he's not standing back and waiting for someone to come hit him. He goes and finds Christian McCaffrey. He goes and finds Kareem Hunt, and he'll hit these guys, right? He's not scared to hit them. I think just his attitude and his mindset that he's the best player on the football field. I think you can't take that away from him, right?
No.
Let's hit up another super chat here. John Q said preseason competition will be thick for the Raiders defense. Can't wait to trim the fat and see the final 53. Let's get some turnovers, sacks, and pass breakups. I couldn't disagree with that, man. I think Mike Mayock said the same exact thing after getting Merrick, or maybe last night it was that he said it. But he was saying that we need to get the football back more. We need turnovers, some interceptions, some pass breakups, and that's why we're getting these guys. And I couldn't disagree with that, man. I appreciate the super chat. What do you think, man? You think this will help us get more turnovers? Because last year as a defense, we got like 7 turnovers, right?
I feel like I was thinking about it, and I feel like it depends a lot on our defensive line. Because when I sit back and look at it, I'm like, last year I remember John Gruden specifically saying this defense will go as far as Malik Collins takes us. I didn't when he said that, I didn't really understand what the hell that was supposed to mean. But Malik Collins didn't do shit, and our defense didn't do shit. So, I mean, he was pretty accurate. So, I think this year it still stands the same, but not just on Malik Collins, on the whole defensive line. Because as young as our DB core is, I feel like it'll depend a lot on our defensive line to actually get some pressure. You know what I mean?
Yep. I totally agree with islands. I totally agree with that. Ben Bad, thank you for the $2 super chat. You said Tyrell Gillespie. I appreciate. Is it Tyrell or is it Tyree? I think it's Tyree Gillespie. Tyree. Someone can probably correct me on that. Ryan Campbell said Sean Reed says Hobbs is a projected slot corner. I think that as well. That's kind of what I was thinking. That's maybe why we got him, right? If some people say he's a safety and then others say he's a corner, chances are he's a slot corner, right? Thank you for the super chat, man. I really appreciate it. If you guys have questions, comments, leave a super chat. There's almost 700 of you guys in here right now. Hit that thumbs up button, man.
Raider Nation, y'all
lit, man. And make sure to follow Ray today. His name's right there on the screen. He's a Raiders content creator just like myself, and he puts out some very solid content.
Appreciate it, man.
Let me ask you, what video are you doing next? Like, do you have something?
I'm gonna do just a full review on the whole draft.
Okay.
And so what I'm gonna basically do is I'm just gonna have a little, probably like a short little bio. You know what I mean? Not too crazy. Some bullets on the player. You know. Just like example, like Leatherwood will say he won this award, and you know what I mean, he played this many games, or if there was any like significant injuries, and then I'll probably go over like 3 or 4 plays of just specifically what they do good and some of their cons to show. And I'll do that for every player. It'll just be nice little snippet, nothing too long, but every player we have. I already started it. I'm getting the clips for the who we drafted up to so far.
Okay.
So, I mean, obviously, I've been on since we got Hobbs. I haven't got him, and I haven't even watched Hobbs' film, so I can't really answer anything on that. I'm not really sure.
I don't even know if I have his film. I think he was either Illinois or South Illinois. I don't know, man. But Wi-Fi Willie said, "Who do we have that we can start in the slot? Even though we will primarily play cover 3, we will sometimes go cover 1 and have to play man." And that's a good point, man, because cover 3, cover 1. Those are interchangeable, right? Like, you're not going to play cover 3 every single defense.
Yeah.
But from the cover 3 look, you would play a cover 1, right? That's what you're going to play. So, again, that's a good question. Maybe it's Dobbs. At the same time, I could see us playing with 2 safeties, right? Like Abram basically on one end, over a tight end, and then maybe another safety, right? Rather it's Merrick or Gillespie right there, right? I would love Merrick to play up on the line of scrimmage, and I would let Gillespie be the free safety. I know Mike Mayock said something completely different, right? I think you touched on it. Mayock said that Merrick will be the post and Abram will be in the box. And I think those were his exact words. But again, that was also before he went out and got Gillespie, right?
I wanted to say, someone commented, it's the final 55 this year.
Okay. Well,
so I think because we have an extra game, our roster was more or something.
Okay, like that would probably make sense. And there's also a practice squad too, right? People always forget, but practice squad means that there's something to that player, right? I think Andre James was on the practice squad. Actually, no, he might not have been. I think that was Lester Khan. I think Andre James made the active roster his rookie year. Watts Raider, huge shout out to you, man, for the $5 super chat. Really appreciate it. If you guys don't know Watts Raider, go check his YouTube channel out as well. Does a great job. Training camp will determine who starts, and the practice field will determine who gets time. Injuries also will determine that, and that is a fact, man. That is 100% fact.
Shout out Watts, man.
Absolutely, man. And I totally, there's nothing else I can add to that, man. And I don't disagree with you. Training camp.
And I think the Raiders have shown like they're not afraid to move on from you if you're not going to produce or if you're not going to put in the work or practice.
Absolutely. And see, here's the thing, and that's a good point because it's like the Falcons or the Patriots. They cut players and they'll cut people who don't work out, and they're praised as they cut these bad players, they cut these average players. At the same time, when the Raiders do that, it's like, they're filled players. They're filled contracts. John Gruden has no idea what he's doing. John Gruden's moving on from people that aren't working out, right? We got rid of Demarius Randall before the season started because he wasn't practicing. He either he wasn't healthy or he didn't want to practice. I don't know the situation, but that's a smart thing to do. If you're not producing, get off the field, man. Stop wasting space. Let someone else take over. John Gruden says the best ability is availability, and that's such a true fact. Right, that's such a true statement. What do you think, man? You think this training camp will have any surprise cuts?
You know what? With how our drafts have went in the past, I mean, you know what I mean? We haven't been afraid to get rid of any of those draft picks or the players we drafted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, got rid of Hurst. PJ Hall we got rid of super early.
You know what I mean? We traded Bowden.
Exactly. Even Conley, like I know Gruden didn't draft him, but we traded him in his 3rd year, and he was a rookie, so he could have had 5 cheap years, right? And yeah, you're right. Bowden, we got rid of him real quick. PJ Hall, right? I think 2nd or 3rd year, or into his 2nd year, I think we got rid of him. Hurst and Key got rid of them this past year. Yeah, man, John Gruden, he doesn't care, man.
I think he's just trying to take everybody that was here before and just you got to be gone.
I mean, he's pretty much done that, right? Like, who's left from before he got here other than Carr?
Joseph. Now he's
Joseph
back.
now. And then Morrow, I think, right? Morrow was here with the last regime.
I don't know. I don't know about it. 100% sure.
J. Dot said Abram is fine. He was one of our best players on D. He just tried to play hero ball too much last year. He had more good plays than bad ones. And that's the thing, right? Is some people will see like a couple of bad plays and they'll say this is all he does all season, right? It's just bad play after bad play. But that's not true. Abram 98% of the time he's making a positive, impactful, not impactful, but he's making the positive play, right? He's doing his job.
Well, it's like what I was saying earlier. When you have that pursuit and you have someone randomly come into the screen, other safeties take themselves out the play sometimes, and people won't realize that they're not even there around to make the tackle. They're not even, you know what I mean? They're not even around the ball carrier. The thing with John Abrams is he's always there. He's literally always there. So,
absolutely.
So a lot of times because he's like that, it makes him look kind of bad. You know what I mean? Because when you make a mistake, one thing coach will tell you, if you make a mistake, you better make that mistake 100%. And he's going 110%. So it's like,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's different.
Abram isn't a bad player. Like I would never call Abram a bad player. He just needs to, you know what I mean, get that composure and hold it. But if you were to play closer to the line, then it wouldn't look so bad because he's coming from deep, dude. And when he comes from deep and smacks somebody, it's like it's crazy. But I think if he was closer to the line, it would help him a lot. And our defense is so bad, like the person that I forgot who it was. It's like he was overcompensating sometimes. It's kind of like when Mahomes got that touchdown. He was where he was supposed to be, but then he leaves his assignment because of what was transpiring. Mahomes got the pocket, and then Kelsey got open. So it was like, dang, man, it made him look bad, but
he's still young too, right? You got to give him a couple of seasons, right? Like we gave Colt Miller 3 seasons, right? Yeah. We gave, and it was that 3rd year, and now we're giving Cleveland Ferrell that 3rd year. But it's like people are writing Jonathan Abram off after 1 year, right? Because he didn't play his rookie year, right? Exel Sound said, "What up, Raid Sanji? What do you guys think of Nate Hobbs? Raiders calling him a diamond in the rough. Keep up the quality content, y'all." Huge shout out to you. Appreciate the super chat. We talked about this just a little while ago, but I'll just touch on it real quick. I haven't watched his film personally, so I don't want to say things because I don't know, right? I would be lying at this point, and that's something I try not to do. Anytime I'm on another channel and I don't know the player, I'll just be honest about it and say it. Ray or DG, I don't think you watched his film either, right?
No, I'm not familiar with Hobbs, but you guys already know we're going to be on it. The moment we're off of this, the first thing we're going to do is go straight to the film. So you guys already know we're going to be on it.
Absolutely. Hey, and that's the thing. People don't know this, but Raid hits me up, man. He'll hit me up and he'll text me and say, "Hey, man, can you share this film or this film?" So I know for a fact, right? I wouldn't be bringing him back on this channel for every single one of these picks if he wasn't putting the work in, if he didn't know what he was talking about. I know for a fact this guy knows what he's talking about, man. So that's what I'm telling you guys. Go subscribe to his channel, man. And I do appreciate you coming on again, man. It really does mean a lot. Over 700 people right now. Hit that thumbs up button. I really appreciate it. And the draft, it's going so much better than I expected. Like,
man.
I did not expect it to go the way it kind of ended up going. I honestly thought we were going to screw this up. Like, after the first round pick, not that I think Leatherwood was a bad football player. I personally just felt that there were other offensive tackles we could have gotten. But with our last 4 or 5 picks that we've had, I see like the potential in these players is through the roof. And I hate using the word potential because we talk about this all the time, right? Like
all the time.
Like he had this crazy potential. Hurst had this potential, and that obviously didn't pan out. But I think a lot of that could also be written off to the fact that their coaching staff, right? Like Paul Gunther, he was a trash coach, right? And that kind of hinders people. $5 super chat from Joey. I appreciate it. Diablo starting at backer this year. Who's starting on the D line? I don't think Diablo starts at linebacker this year. I think he will play, right? You got to keep in mind they got to adjust to the game speed. On the defensive line, I have Yannick Ngakwe, Max Crosby, Quentin Jefferson, and Jonathan Hankins being like the 4 guys that are going to play a ton. And then Cleveland Ferrell and Kendall Vickers, I think, sub in and out. What do you think? Who do you think?
Man, originally I had Max Crosby starting, man. But as time going on, I got Cleveland Ferrell. Because what I would like to see is, of course, you have Unique in there. Of course, you got to start Hankins. He's the biggest guy. We got to get to that subject, but he's our biggest guy. You know what I mean? He's the only guy in the middle that would take up two players. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And then I would start Irving and then Farrell. So I have Unique, Hankins, Irving, and Farrell. And then the rotation would be keep Unique in, kick Farrell to the inside, whatever D tackle you want the pass rush, drop him in there, and then bring in Max.
So you think that Gus Bradley's gonna do what Paul Gunther was doing as far as punting Cleveland to the inside? You think Gus will continue doing that?
Yes.
It'll be interesting because I do too. I do too.
I think he'll do that, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Farrell will. I'm not sure. We might see him actually just start at D tackle some games. I feel like, honestly, I want to go look up. Matter of fact, I want to go look up Jason Tillery's size.
Okay,
just real quick.
Okay. I'm gonna hit these super chats because they're starting to disappear really quickly. Foxy Scorpio left $5 super chat. Huge shout out to you. You said that pig Andy Reid eats chili dogs for breakfast. I don't know if he does, but Andy Reid is a great coach, right? So you got to show the guy some respect for that. A fact: when Andy Reid signed with the Chiefs, me and my brother talked about it, and I told my brother I think the Chiefs are going to be one of those winning teams for the next 10 years, and here we are, man. Here we are. It's unfortunate, but I think John Gruden can get the Raiders fixed, and we can start beating the Chiefs. Ari, I think it's Ari, left the $2 super chat. Diablo playing Will, Dobbs, and Gillespie at nickel. You know, I did a film study of Gillespie, and I had him as a post safety. So, which is why it's interesting, right? Because we already took Merrick, and I don't know if Merrick's the post safety or Gillespie's the post safety. I kind of feel like Merrick's going to be the starting post, and then maybe on like third downs, maybe Merrick comes up to the box. Because Merrick played a lot of man coverage last year, right? Like TCU did like the split safety look, and basically Merrick would just be on one half the field, and he'd be like covering the slot or the tight end man to man. And I'm sure you saw that as well, right? Because you obviously hadn't watched this tape. What do you think about that? Like, what do you think Gillespie and Merrick's roles will be? I do think Diablo will play Will. What do you think about those three guys specifically?
So what it's like I was saying when I first got on about Diablo, when I watched the film, I wasn't too fond of him at linebacker. Because I seen he was lined up at that single high. If you go look, he was lined up at single high sometimes, or he would be like the robber. And you'll see he got an interception. I forgot who it was against, and it was in the end zone. He was playing safety at the top. He was not in the box. You know what I mean?
Gillespie, right?
No. Diablo.
Okay.
Diablo. And so when he was lined up at linebacker, sometimes I would just get the sentiment that it was just not his natural spot. Like he doesn't dissect the run play well enough to where he can understand where the ball carrier is going to end up. Because he'll find himself like on the wrong side of the pile.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really like that too much. But he is he would be that backside, you know what I mean, linebacker. So I think it just depends on how he transitions to the NFL because, again, think about it. We're taking a safety and we're moving him to linebacker again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we did that last year.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We have a new DC also. So, you know, I want to see Diablo thrive, though. I like him. I like him too. He's dope. He's huge. The dude, when you watch his film, it's like you can't miss him. He's the biggest guy on the field by far. And he's out there just playing DB. It's crazy.
And I couldn't disagree with that, man.
Huge DB.
I couldn't disagree with that. I think just his size, it's going to allow him to do so many different things. At the same time, I want to try to get through these super chats. They're going to start disappearing. What's going on with our D tackles, one and D Nixon? You know, there's still some good defense tackles left, man. Twyman's still on the board, which is crazy.
Marvin Wilson.
And Marvin Wilson.
You got that USC D tackle.
Okay. I know the other one went Jay. I don't know how to say his. I know he's off the board. I think the Ohio State defense tackle might still. Actually, he might have been taken.
No.
There's a couple of good defensive tackles available. David Nixon went in the 5th round, which is crazy because I think it was Matt Miller had him going to the Raiders with pick 17. He had Davian Nixon going with pick 17. I'm not a Davian Nixon fan, and I have never been. I am not a Nixon fan.
I like Nixon. I wouldn't take him with 17 though. That's wild.
That is wild.
He just reminded me kind of Maurice Hurst. So I was like, yeah, we're not getting him.
Exactly, and that's the thing though is like some people had him going at pick in the first round, right? If it wasn't pick 7, in the first round. I don't think he was ever worth it. I
seen it early in the draft season. Early in the draft season, I seen him going high, and then he started dropping off boards. But it's the same thing with other players in the draft. You know how it is. Because Mac Jones at the beginning of this whole draft thing, he was not considered to be
true.
You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, he was boom.
That's crazy that you mentioned that, because Mac Jones at the beginning of when draft started, he was not considered like he was not considered a top quarterback. And then like late in the process, out of nowhere, it's like, oh, Mac Jones, this guy, he's going to be the next great quarterback. But then he ended up falling to pick 15, right? He didn't go pick 2 or 3. But yeah, man, huge shout out to everybody that's left the super chat. This was actually the last one, but a couple more have came in. I do appreciate every single person that has left a super chat. Joseph Coral said Mike Mayock is a smart GM. I couldn't disagree with that. And you know what's crazy, Raid, and you give me your thoughts on this. Why is it that, in my opinion, it kind of feels like people hate John Gruden and Mike Mayock because and it's not people, it's the media specifically. Yeah. Why do they hate Mike Mayock and John Gruden? Is it because they were once part of the media and now they have real NFL jobs? Because I feel like the hate's real. Anything we do, we get killed for it.
All of our draft picks went to commercial.
That's what I'm saying. So things like that. Things like that. It makes no sense to me because Bill Belichick does the same thing that John Gruden does. It's the same thing. And Bill Belichick's regarded as this genius making these Bill Belichick's regarded as a guy who's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. But John Gruden does the same thing. And John Gruden is looked down upon. Media is crazy, man. The media controls the narrative, and it's unfortunate. But I want to know your thoughts on this too, because I started creating YouTube videos, I'd say about 3 or 4 years ago. And one of the reasons why I also started creating YouTube videos was because I felt that like the media did not know the Raiders the same way I knew the Raiders, right? 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I looked at it like, even when I watched Raider specific content, I used to watch Mikey Raider back then, right? I used to say this guy knows the Raiders. Yeah, and I feel like the media is so biased, they don't know what's going on. And personally, that's why I prefer watching like people like you or Samoan or Raider Cody or Hunch or one of these guys, right? Because we know more about our team than like an outside media source, right?
Facts. That's true, because when you go watch people on the media, they, like you said, they don't know us like we know us. So they'll say, oh, they need this. And it's like, no, we don't. We don't need that. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't want to watch that. Let me go watch a real Raider fan. Let me go watch somebody that knows what the hell they're talking about when it comes to our football team.
And that's the difference, right? We know what we're talking about. Shout out to you, Calvin, for the $4.99 super chat. I appreciate it because you didn't leave a comment. If you guys have questions or a comment, I appreciate it. I do see you left the comment after that saying from high school. I'm not 100% sure what that refers to, but I appreciate it. And then Mac Mel also left a $5 super chat. Huge shout out to you, Mac. I know you're here all the time with me, so I appreciate that a ton. Michael left this $4.99 super chat. I can't wait for the season, Raiders, baby. I cannot wait either, man.
Yeah.
I'm super pumped up, man.
I'm hyped.
I'm hella hyped too, man, because you got to keep in mind, right? Like, I live Raiders, man. Like, that's what all day, every day, it's all football for me personally. I'm not a huge basketball fan, right? Like, I follow the Kings. The Kings suck, right? But and occasionally I'll watch them. But football's just different, man. Like, basketball, you know who's going to win, right? Basketball, there's 3 or 4 teams that are going to win the championship.
Someone said you sound like Trump saying, "Gee, it's fake news."
Fake news, man. Okay.
It is fake news. They be trying to blackball the Raiders.
That's exactly what it is.
Blackball the Raiders, man. You got to think about it always.
That's exactly what it is. And it's annoying, though. It annoys me because the Raiders do everything the correct way. For the last 3 or 4 years, we've done things the correct way. It hasn't always worked out, right? Like the Antonio Brown situation obviously did not work out. But it was the correct move to make, right? You traded, a 3rd-round pick for Antonio Brown. That was the correct move to make. You're getting yourself a superstar wide receiver. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, right? But at the same time, I'm glad that not only did we get him, but the moment he got into like an argument or into a fight with someone he should not, right? Because that shit should not be allowed. You should not be like, you can't go to work and disrespect your boss and think you're gonna have a job, right? And that's exactly what he did with Mike Mayock, right? They got into a fight, an argument, whatever happened. Brown said some things to Mayock, and shortly after that, we cut him, right? And then the media killed us for that. But what do? Do you hide that? You let it go under the rug? Or you get rid of him? You set the tone. You let everybody else on the roster know that, that fight that happened in training camp that everybody clearly saw, that shit's not allowed, right?
And like you said, it was the right move. Nobody was like, oh, why are we getting AB? You know what I mean?
Exactly. No one was against it. Calvin Nance said Diablo was a wide receiver in high school. I didn't know that, but that's interesting. That's very interesting, right? Maybe he has that mindset of knowing what a wide receiver might do, and maybe that'll allow him, translate into the NFL. I would like to see his wide receiver stats. I mean, he had to have been a receiver and safety, right? Like, he's not just playing wide receiver. And obviously he chose to be a safety, which, that's a good investment for him because he got picked right in the NFL draft.
Someone, okay, go another super chat. I just wanted to ask this real quick. Someone wants to know, what's the NFL comparison? You guys in the comments, y'all got to answer these questions too now. But someone said, what would your NFL comp be for Trayvon Merrick?
My NFL comp.
I was thinking kind of like Marcus May.
That's a good comp. It's hard, because
it's hard to do college comps. You know what I mean?
It is, and it's unfair because you have a lot of good football players in the NFL. The thing with Merrick is he doesn't have he has some interceptions, but he plays smart, right? He plays football smart. I haven't watched Marcus May enough to know, is this guy, what does he do in every single situation? I've watched enough of Merrick. I know what he does in every single situation. He makes the correct move in all of these situations. If a receiver goes in motion, he knows how to look at that receiver going in motion. He knows how to process it. I watched a play yesterday of it was an end around, right? Like, the receiver came in motion, he got the ball, and there was another guy coming back the other way, and it was a fake. And he saw it from days away, and he started yelling and pointing, and you see the defense slowly shift back the other way before the ball's even handed off. Those type of things make me believe that Trayvon Merrick, as far as his football awareness and his IQ, one of the things that makes Tyrann Mathieu is his football awareness, his football IQ. Tyrann Mathieu has never been the fastest, biggest, strongest player ever. But the thing that makes him great is his awareness. And I think that's the same thing with Budda Baker. And I don't know if people consider Budda Baker a top safety, but he's a top 3 or 4 safety in the league, right? And I said that before the season started last year. I'll share the tweet with you guys if you guys want to see it. But I put it up there that Budda Baker is one of the top 5 safeties. And I said that last year before this season started. And some people still might not know who Budda Baker is, right? People still might not think that he's one of the top safeties. But the Cardinals defense is going to be great this year, and I think he's going to be one of those players. But I missed the last 2 picks. Can you go down all our picks and give quick thoughts? Absolutely. I think it's a good time. Let me see if there's any other super chats real quick.
Last 2 picks. Well, yeah, Budda Baker for sure. He's dope. He's raw. And I seen some people saying Justin Simmons for NFL comp for Merrick. They said Justin Simmons. I wouldn't say that so much because he's not as fast.
He's not. Yeah.
The size. I like the comparison, but the speed isn't there. Minkah Fitzpatrick. That's not a bad comparison.
Who?
Tyrann Mathieu. I wouldn't say that because they're just not. They're not even comparable.
I would say comparable. I do think Merrick has the awareness and
for sure.
But as far as his
size and the speed is not there.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
So Fontaine left 4.99. Thank you. So your question, we will get to that in just a couple minutes. DG and I will go through all of the players' breakdowns. We'll give you guys our thoughts and opinions. Dick Vitale left basically the same comment. Thank you for the super chat. Thanks, Sanji. What's your overall take so far? And do you think we might be a little late on the O-line? Let's just break this down, man. I think there's one other super chat from Ari. We'll get into that in just a second. But basically, the last two super chats are asking a similar question. I'll give you guys my take. Let's just go player by player, and we'll start with just Alex Leatherwood, man. We'll just start right there. Initially I did not like the pick, but as the pick happened, because we were live together, and we were both kind of pissed off, right? Like you guys can go back and see that reaction. We were both kind of upset with the pick, but it wasn't more so that I didn't like the player. It was more of the fact that I felt that there were other players that we could have gotten that I think had higher ceilings. And again, it's not just me that thought that, right? And I know you guys are gonna say, well, obviously you're not a scout and you're not a GM, so your thinking is irrelevant. But even on Twitter, everybody said it, and it's not just like the Twitter people. It's like the Mel Kipers of the world, the Brandon Thorns, the Todd McShays.
When we drafted them, the set went silent. When we drafted Leatherwood, the set went silent. It was dead silent. So
exactly,
everybody was shocked. You know what
I mean? I don't hate the pick, especially after watching his film again, doing the film studies. I don't hate the pick. I'm fine with that pick. For the value and the player we got, I think the player could be a real good player, but as far as like value and all that, I would give that pick like a B-, C+, just because I felt that like we could have still gotten Christian Darrisaw, who I still think is going to end up being a better football player, right? And that's just my thoughts, and that's just me being honest. What do you think about Alex Leatherwood? What are some of your thoughts on him?
So I think it was the last live we were on. I had said I thought Darrisaw would have. I think Darrisaw has a higher ceiling. So when you say you think Darrisaw is better, do you think Darrisaw is better right now after watching? I know you've seen Darrisaw. I know you've been digging through Leatherwood's tape. After all the tape you watched, what would you say about that though? Who do you think has the higher ceiling, and who do you think is better right now? So
you're right. Let me correct that. Okay, so you're right. You make a good point. So right now, I think Christian Darrisaw is the better football player today. Right. Okay. As far as who could be the better overall player, who has the higher ceiling, I think Alex Leatherwood has the higher ceiling.
Okay.
And but at the end of the day, you guys got to keep in mind, right? If someone has a higher ceiling, that doesn't mean they're going to be the better football player, because I would say more often the person with the higher ceiling never reaches that.
Never. Okay.
More often, that's what ends up happening, which means that if Leatherwood doesn't get that ceiling, that means Christian Darrisaw is going to be a better football player, right? But the one positive I will say with that pick is, a part of developing and getting that ceiling is your coach. And there's no better coach than Tom Cable. Tom Cable is one of the best offensive line coaches in the whole entire world, right? You can go to India, you can be here in the United States and go to China. There's not a better offensive line coach than Tom Cable, right? He's like one of the top 2 or 3 greatest offensive line coaches right now at this very time. What do you think? You think Alex Leatherwood is better than Darrisaw today, or do you think Darrisaw is better? And what do you think about like the future?
I just think Darrisaw is the better player. You know what I mean? I'm not really going to change my subject at all because I've been saying that, and I think to this day Darrisaw is the better player. I think he still has the higher ceiling also. That doesn't mean Alex Leatherwood is bad. That doesn't mean he's light years behind in talent or in skill. I think he is a professional for sure. So I think I like the pick after we got Morig because it just showed we were willing to trade up and go get what we needed. And I feel like in the past, we would never do that. And then this year, all of a sudden, we trade up with San Francisco, and then boom, we go get Merrick. It just made Leatherwood that much better because we just filled those needs. And it's like no matter what we do in the rest of the draft, you know what I mean? I mean, unless we like just go out there and do some crazy shit. But it's like we won. Like as a fan, you're like, we won. We wanted a right tackle. We got a professional out of it. You know what I mean? And then we got Morig. So if you think about, imagine if we switched. Somebody had told me, imagine if you switched them. You got Merrick at 17. You end up getting Leatherwood. You traded up. But then I also heard rumors Leatherwood. Someone actually wanted to take him. I believe I heard it was the Colts that wanted to get him or something like that. And then the Vikings gave I think it was the Vikings or somebody else gave a poor trade offer, and it didn't work out. So we ended up just taking our guy. So. I like the Leatherwood pick because of the Morig pick.
Absolutely. That's a good point.
Like there's a little asterisk next to the Leatherwood pick. You know what I mean? Because beforehand I was like, man. But then But then we got Morig, and I was like, "Yo, we won. It doesn't matter. I don't care what we do. We won. We did what we did. Now we go get Gillespie, Diablo, Koontz. It's like, yo, our defense. If we don't have at least one Pro Bowl safety, then just throw the whole defense away. Just like we have to have at least one All-Pro safety out of all these guys. We have to produce at least one like legit, like just lights out safety. You know what I mean? Morig, Gillespie, Abram.
So I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question on that real quick. All right. So check this out. You obviously believe Trayvon Merrick is going to be a superstar, right? You felt that way. That's why you wanted him with pick 17.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with that. I think the same exact thing. At the same time, you look at the fact that we have Jonathan Abram, and I think Jonathan Abram's is going to be a superstar. Could you imagine if both guys become superstars and we have two superstar safeties? How do you think our defense pans out? Like a
Earl Thomas and a Cam Chancellor you talking about?
Exactly. Exactly.
It would be dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would be dope. I mean, Gus Bradley almost did it in San Diego / LA when he got Derwin James and he was trying to get another piece. And I think back there he had put what was his name? He ended up leaving the Chargers, going somewhere else. But they had a good safety duel, and James ends up getting hurt, and the other dude ended up leaving. And I think that's what he's trying to do again right here with the Raiders, and I love it. I love it. I'm so glad we got him because I feel like, and I seen Champion Sports Nation, shout out Champion Sports. He said Gus Bradley has his fingerprints all over the draft, and it's like, does he really? I think so, but like, does he really? We don't really know, and it seems like it because of what we got. So it's like I'm so glad we got Gus Bradley. He's just my favorite offseason acquisition, dude, and everything. Just this whole season is on Gus Bradley. Like for me, it's just everything's on Gus Bradley. You know what I mean?
I want to answer the super chat really quickly because I don't think there's any other super chats, and then we'll just get right back into our thoughts on all the players and picks. Will Gruden pull some trickery with the New Jersey rules? No more position requirements and all of these multi-position players. That's an interesting thought, right? Because people aren't thinking about the fact that what and thank you for the super chat, Ari. So what Ari's referring to, and I hope it's Ari and not Ari. I'm horrible with coaches or with names. But what Ari's referring to is this. What Bill Belichick did, and he exploited this rule, I think 2 or 3 years ago. Basically, what he was doing was he was taking his tight end, rather it was Rob Gronkowski or another player, and basically he was lining them up at left guard. So he would put Gronkowski at left guard, and then he would put a left tackle in. So Gronkowski looked like he was a guard. And what he was doing is he would take his left guard and he was lining him up out at slot. So the defense got confused. I think they're playing the Ravens specifically. They're getting confused because they saw this left guard playing slot wide receiver, and they didn't know, did they have to cover him? Did they not? So what they were doing is they were covering him, and they left Gronkowski wide open because they weren't sure, is Gronkowski a left guard? So basically the left guard was running a route, and they hurried up, and they did the play 3 times back to back to back, and they picked up like 70 yards. And then the coaching staff called the timeout to kind of adjust and fix how they're going to do that. But that was the one time that situation was used, and they changed the whole entire rules. They said that now none of your guys with the jersey numbers of what like offensive linemen have can line up anywhere except for on the right side of the center or the left side of the center. You can't. You can't.
The Jets just took your guy, man.
Who?
Hamza.
Who took him?
The Jets.
Okay. I mean, if the Raiders weren't going to do it, someone else was going to do it, right? I'm okay with that.
6th round.
Exactly.
Yeah, 6th round. But to what you were saying about the jersey rule, I don't know. How do you guys feel about the jersey rule down there in the group chat? What y'all think about the jersey rule? What do you think about the jersey rule? I just want to keep it the same. You know what I mean? Professional is just, this is how it is. Let's just stick to it, But I think it's still dope, like to have if I had a Morig Raiders jersey with the number 7, that would be hella dope.
It does look dope. I'm not gonna lie.
But it's like just for the game of the NFL, I just kind of I like to just keep it the way it is. We didn't need to tweak nothing or change anything. There's no point. Like that's not what the game is about so much. Everybody loves to have their number. Yep. So
see, but another thing is it sucks for players right now, right? Like for example, Jonathan Abram. If you wanted to switch from 24 to something else, he has to go and buy all of the jerseys that are currently outstanding. How much money is that going to cost? Like, I don't know how many Jonathan Abram jerseys there are out there. Is that like $700,000-$800,000? I don't know, right? I'm just assuming. And does he have to pay the full price of the jersey, or does he have to pay for the cost of the jersey, right? Because that makes a big difference, right? Like a jersey probably costs to make. It probably costs like a couple dollars, $3, $4, $5 to actually make, right?
You went out, man. You went out. You're all black. Your screen was black.
My camera is doing the same thing. I just took the charger out. So usually I don't make videos over an hour long. So usually my camera is fine, but because I have the charger plugged into the camera, it gets too hot. So it kind of cuts out. But yeah, I mean, I think they should have left the jerseys the way it is. For the rookies, it's fine because you can pick whatever number you want. You don't have to go and buy any of the jerseys back.
Yeah.
If you're Jonathan Abram or if you're Colton Miller's been paid, so it won't matter now. But Jonathan Abram hasn't gotten paid, right? Max Crosby hasn't gotten paid. So, like, for one of these guys to change their numbers, they'd have to buy back those jerseys. And is that really worth it? Yeah. Kevin Lurker said it's a buyback program. Yeah, that's exactly what it's referred to. Someone said Merrick's wearing 69. I don't think he's eligible for that number specifically. Eddie Rice said Leatherwood can play left or guard in case injury. That is very important. That's a good point, right? That is a good point. People don't think about it, right? But Leatherwood played right guard. Right when he got into college, that was his first position he played before he converted to left tackle. So there's 2 points I want to make about that. One, the transition from left tackle to right tackle will be easy for him because as a left tackle, you put your left hand down and your left foot goes back and your right foot goes forward. That's as a left tackle. On the right side, you do the opposite. You put your right hand down, your right foot down. From a mental perspective, I played right guard, but I also came in and played left guard a little bit. Anytime like the left guard would get hurt, because we had a good backup right guard. So I would move to left guard, and then the right guard would come in. But from a mental perspective, it's hard to go from your right hand down, right foot back, to left hand down, left foot back. Both Leatherwood, he played right guard. So he'll mentally know how to do it because he's played right guard. So it won't be an issue for him. At the same time, if something were to happen to Colton Miller, he can move right back to left tackle because he's done that as well, right?
Which I hope nothing happens.
Absolutely. Hopefully that does not happen. Our team has to be healthy because we have not been healthy, and we have to stay healthy. That's going to be such a big part for the Raiders.
Into the left tackle or guard. I think that's why they wanted to get boy from USC, I believe, but someone else snatched him up before us. Vera Tucker.
Yep.
Because he could play both. He could play coach. But you think about it, this might be why we got Nick Martin for depth to play center or a guard. Denzel Good can move out to tackle also. So
yeah, so that's the thing. We have a lot
of versatility on the O line.
Absolutely. Let's actually jump and let's continue talking to those two super chats. They wanted our thoughts and opinions. We talked a little about Leatherwood, a little about Merrick. Let's talk about Koontz, man, because we haven't talked a whole lot about Koontz. I've watched 3 games now of Koontz. That was all yesterday, last night. I put out a tweet, like a small little highlight video of him against Penn State. I love Koontz, man. Now, if there's one player who has the highest potential outside of our 2 first-round picks, right, just considering the late-round guys, Koontz is that guy, man. Mike Mayock said he's twitchy, and that's exactly what I see. Like, he can easily shift right or easily shift left, and he'll just jump right past the guy super quickly. And for me, that's impressive because as a defensive end, it's not that easy to use your hands and beat players, right? Cleveland Farrell's biggest flaw is he doesn't have a lot of pass rushing moves. He doesn't have a whole lot of skills. He doesn't have a ton of that. And Koontz already has that. So I don't really know what Koontz's flaws are, right? Is it that he can't defend the run? I'm very high on him, man. Do you have any thoughts of Koontz?
I think that he could get a little bit more pass rush moves. Honestly, I've watched some tape on him, and the best pass rush move I've seen was that long arm or a chop.
Yep.
Those are the two I would have to see a little bit more, especially. I'm looking at he's 6'2", 250, so I don't know. And it says he's an outside linebacker. I don't think he is an outside linebacker like that. I think he's more of a Leo. He'll probably be.
That's exactly what I think. I think he's
helping Yannick
Leo.
out. But I don't see a power rush or anything like that. So I'm not. And I believe someone said that he had a mean spin move, or a fake out or a fake spin move.
Mayock said that he has a spin move and a fake spin move.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to see which game that was because I watched probably 3 games last night of him. And you watched that Kent State game, the very first play of the game, he comes out, sacks him. Yep. Long arms the right tackle and beats him and gets to it. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. First play of the game. I like him already. You know what I mean? So let's go. Raider Nation.
Yeah, so and that's the thing. You said he could be the Leo, and I agree with that. You know, we need that Bruce Irvin type of player. You know, Bruce Irvin, in my opinion, he's generally like a 4-3 outside linebacker that stands up on the line of scrimmage. Maybe he drops back here and there in coverage, but his primary role should be to play on the line of scrimmage. Koontz is that guy. He's the guy that's going to play on the line of scrimmage. He's going to come off the edge, and specifically, I think the Raiders are going to bring 5 guys a ton this year, right? With Koontz, Yannick, Cleveland, Crosby, and then maybe it's Quentin Jefferson or Vickers or Hankins. I think we're going to be bringing 5 guys a lot this year, and I think it's going to translate into sacks because we're already playing like cover 1 or cover 3. So we don't need 2 safeties deep, right? We only need 1 safety deep, which means we can have 5 defensive linemen, and then maybe we have like a linebacker, and then maybe it's like Diablo or Abram or Merrick right there, right? I think we're going to get a lot more sacks this year too.
I think that's a big scheme. And I think that's a big reason why we got Diablo, because when you watch that Virginia Tech film, they was running that cover run a lot.
Yep.
They was manned up. They was stickied up. I was like, damn, them boys is ruthless. They was just out there on islands everywhere.
And that's the thing with Diablo too is like
and just to add, it says Koontz is listed as a linebacker, so we got a safety in Diablo to play linebacker. Then we got a linebacker in Koontz to play DN. You know what I mean? So we just need these things to work out. I like the players. I like the picks. I think we just need to make sure it works out.
That's the thing, right?
It's time to execute and see the production on the field.
And that's the thing, right? Is we get these players when, like, you know, I see Koontz on NFL.com anyways. It says he's an edge defender. And that's kind of what I saw in college, right? He was an edge defender. And if that's what he is with the Raiders, and you watched this tape, right? I would say from when I watched Koontz's tape, 98% of the time he was standing up, right? He didn't have his hands.
He was basically just a DN that was standing up.
Exactly. But that's what Gus Bradley needs, right? That's Gus Bradley's Leo. It's that guy that's going to stand up.
I just wanted to bring that point up because I know some people in the comments said, I've seen it, and they said we drafted a linebacker to play DN. If you go watch the tape, he's standing up, but he's not really a linebacker. Just watch him. He's rushing the quarterback. Trust me. He's a pass rushing DN, and he's getting in there, getting to the quarterback. He wasn't really playing linebacker like your traditional linebacker, you would think. Because think about it. What linebacker would he be playing? I guess he would play the Sam.
He would play Sam on the line of scrimmage. But so that's
that don't even make sense for us.
So that's the thing, though, right? Is we do need a Sam, right? We do need a true Sam for Gus Bradley's system. But I do think he is that guy, right? And again, that doesn't mean he's going to get off the line of scrimmage and play that stack position. He's never not going to be on the line of scrimmage, right? I watched at least 80 or 90 of his plays yesterday, and I saw him drop back in coverage one time. And that was more of like he was on the line of scrimmage. He ran upfield, and then the running back leaked out, and he just went with the running back. So I don't know if he really dropped in coverage or if that was just like they were trying to bring another guy in. But for the most part, he rushed the snap, the quarterback every single time.
I don't think it's really depth. I see some people say it's depth. Coach's job is to rush the passer. I agree. 3-4 Sam, yeah. I mean, potentially, yeah, but we don't. That's not our style. We still running 4-3. So that's what I'm saying. He might be a linebacker, but he's a DN. Go check out his tape, and you guys are going to see like he's more of a DN. You know what I mean? He's not really just out there covering all the time. This dude's getting to the quarterback.
Absolutely. Is Abrams' job in jeopardy now that we drafted Gillespie? I know he's a free safety, but he can play strong safety. I don't think so, man. Mike Mayock touched on it. He said Merrick will be the free post safety, and Gillespie and Abram will be that strong safety. Obviously, that was before we got Gillespie, but I still don't think Abrams' job's in jeopardy. He's literally about to go into his second actual season, right? Assuming he stays healthy this whole entire season. You guys got to keep in mind, man, playing in the NFL is a tough job. And if you watch a defensive tackle or a defensive end, a linebacker, that those positions stick out on the broadcast angle much more than a corner or a safety, right? If you want to watch what a corner or a safety looks like in coverage or how they defend the run, you got to get the all 22 film. And to me, Jonathan Abram, especially in Gus Bradley's system, I think he's gonna be a fantastic football player, man. Yes. And I can't wait till the season starts. Yeah, I can't wait, man.
I'm excited. And for those that are asking, because I know more than one person has asked a question similar to this. If you're asking if Abrams' job is in jeopardy, do you think that Abram is not good, or he doesn't, or he can't get better? What is it? What's your what's it behind that? I don't think Abrams' job is in jeopardy at all. It never came across my mind. And I'm not saying what's good, Sauce Nation. And I'm not saying that it's not or it is. I just don't think he's that bad to where he would be in jeopardy. Like Sanjit said, he just had his rookie season basically. And I didn't think he did that bad. Although PFF, I think he was the lowest rated safety, which is
I don't like PFF, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you guys I take PFF with a grain of salt.
I want to give you guys a PFF story real quick.
Well, according to PFF, Carl Nassib is better than Max Crosby. So, I mean, what do you guys think about that?
So PFF, I know people at PFF that do the grading of PFF. I know people who do like the snap information. The snap information is just based on a chart. Like PFF gives you a chart, and it literally says that if a player lines up within like 4 yards of the line of scrimmage, or if he lines up from 5 yards to 8 yards, if he lines up 9 yards beyond, this is what you're going to label him. If he lines up between this hash and this hash, this is what you're going to label him. That's all PFF is, right? So PFF isn't the end all, right? And as far as grades, PFF has, you can get a job at like Raid. You can really apply and be do like grading for PFF. PFF claims that they have like a scouting agency that verifies their grades. There's no person out there that's going to agree with you and say, yeah, every single one of your grades is 100% accurate, right? On top of that, PFF wants you to do like snap data and that kind of stuff based off the broadcast view, right? I don't know if they go back and they fix their grades, but the all 22 doesn't come out right away, but PFF has their grades right away, right? So like a game might end on Thursday Night Football, and by Saturday, they'll already have their grades out of that game, right? But the all 22 hasn't even came out. So how do you grade a free safety that's off the broadcast angle? Like, how do you grade those players, right?
So basically, y'all ain't even watching film and grading these players. It's just some type of computer algorithm just coming up with grades for football players.
Yeah, I'm not huge on PFF. Now, I will say this. I like PFF's statistics, right? Because at the end of the day, we don't really have actual statistics of these players. So it's still a good reference tool.
Yeah.
You want to see where they kind of lined up in their snap information. I will say this. PFF also, as far as like their some of their statistics, they just use what the NFL Game Pass shows you. And I'll give you guys an example. There was a play where the NFL Game Pass said, Arden Key got a hit on the quarterback, right? The description in NFL Game Pass said Arden Key got the hit, but it wasn't Arden Key, it was Cleveland Farrell. And I pointed that out, and I said, that's not Arden Key, that's Cleveland Farrell. When I went to PFF, they showed that Arden Key had that hit as well. Arden Key didn't have the hit, it was Cleveland Farrell, and they didn't give Cleveland Farrell a hit. So to me, that showed that they're just using that description from the NFL Game Pass, and they're just using that for some of their statistics. Because they still haven't changed it. I checked it like a month back. They still hadn't changed it. And I'll tell you which one it is, too. I'll look into it, and I'll tell you which one it is.
That's interesting because I wanted to do a video on Drake, and because we talked about this. I wanted to do a video on him because the sentiment is that Drake, he can line up on the slot. He's gonna play slot and which I'm not disagreeing with. But when I went to go look for the film, specifically him playing slot, because I didn't want to do film or anything else. I didn't want to show him running the ball in the backfield. We know that. We know he's a running back. I want to see what he does. You know what I mean? Maybe some kick returns, punt returns in the slot, moving around. And it was kind of hard to gather that film. And I haven't dropped the video because I just didn't find the film of him playing specifically at slot. So, you know, and the stats, and then on PFF, it said he was playing slot so much, you know, not a lot, but I just didn't find the film. So
absolutely, and that's the thing, right? Is like it is hard to find film, and I give you a huge shout out for that because the way when I watch film, if I'm going to watch a player, I watch every game. But if I'm going to do a film study, I do not watch, especially for NFL players. I don't watch every single play, right? I'll just go through it and I'll find the positive play. The way you're doing film study, shout out to you, man. I know that takes a long time, like especially if you have like a narrative and you're trying to prove like a point. That takes way longer. Like when I do my film studies, I just go through it. Like my Alex Leatherwood video, for example, yesterday it was like 40 minutes long. I watched the whole thing. I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate that. I looked at it like I just want to go through every play, any positive or negative play. I just want to point it out. Right? I don't want to do all positive plays, all negative plays, all passing plays, all running plays. I'll just do it all, right? And that makes it easier to do, right? So I give you a huge shout out for actually finding that narrative and sticking with it,
man. Because it does take a while, man, especially like the Cleve Farrell one. You really got to go through all the plays. They don't just tell you, like, they just don't give you the plays of like, oh, he's playing D tackle, here it is. No, you got to go through the games. You got to go through play by play. You know what I mean? So it does take a while. It does take a while.
That right there could be a good business idea for PFF to connect with like NFL Game Pass, because PFF does do, you know, at least they try to on every single play determine where people are lining up. You know, it would be nice to know when Cleveland Farrell's playing defensive tackle, right? Game Pass needs to up that a little bit, right? The Raiders left a $5 super chat. Thank you for the super chat. You said, I think Gillespie will be our nickel, but can play free safety in a crunch if Abram goes down, which he does have injury problems. We win. A win-win. I agree with you to a point there. I do think Gillespie could play nickel as well. I think him and Abram can both play nickel at the same time. Gillespie can play free safety. We have some versatility at that safety position at this point, right? So again, thank you for the super chat, Eric. Delk left the $2 super chat. I don't want other teams to watch y'all videos. You know, people do say this. You know, I've seen people say like, because I pointed out, and this was last year sometime. I did a video of John Gruden and how he sends his guys into motion and kind of what he does, like you know, because John Gruden does a lot of option routes, right? So there were like things I would notice that when John Gruden sends his guy in motion, this nickel would run this route, and there's two possible things he can do, and this receiver to the outside could possibly do two different things. And people were like, oh, you know, you're putting these things on film and you're kind of helping the opposite teams, right? And I look at it like anything I see on film, these other teams have already seen it 10 times.
You think the Chiefs played the Raiders and haven't looked at this? Like,
exactly.
It's like a point you made on last live. You said Richard Sherman and how he watched the mechanics of a quarterback. And it's like, these are professionals. This is their job. This isn't our job. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We're just diehard Raider fans, and we love to watch Raiders, so we'll do the film on it. But they're watching all these teams, so they understand. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Not free safety. He can play strong safety for Abram in a crunch. Exactly. In a crunch, he would come down and play strong safety. I like Gillespie. I think Gillespie. I think Gillespie is gonna be that guy, man. I think he could be a guy that can come in and play a ton of different positions. There's a lot of comments.
And the thing is about this draft is that I feel like we have probably 4 safeties that could do a bunch of things.
Exactly.
Like, we got so much versatility in the DB room. I think that's why people just keep wondering, like, dang, who's going to play nickel? You know what I mean? Is Diablo going to go to linebacker? Is he going to play safety sometimes? Is he going to be the next Cam Chancellor? But we got Abram, and then we bring in Joseph. It's like we got a lot of moving pieces, but I like the pieces we have. And if we're going to be moving, those are the pieces I want to be moving.
Absolutely, man. A huge shout out to SanjitRaider. We gotta make a video together, bro. Like, we have yet to make any sort of content together. You know, you go on other shows and other people come on your shows. I go on other shows, other people come on my shows. But you and I have never connected. So hopefully soon. You should shout out Sanji and even Raid. Keep killing it. Been a solid day 3, 100 fire flag. Love the Gillespie pick though. I love the Gillespie pick, man.
Yeah.
Like, this was a guy that I talked about a ton of times before the draft actually came around. And I even did a film study of his, man. Believe it or not, on my second YouTube channel, it's called the Football Scout. I did a video of Gillespie. And people are always telling me like, "Oh, you're Raider biased, right?" Like when the Raiders make a pick, you start getting all biased towards their picks. Maybe I do a little bit, but with Gillespie specifically, I did not change the title of that video. I did to put the Raiders name into that video, but the initial name of that was Gillespie could be a great post safety in the NFL, and I left that title as it is. I think Tyree Gillespie could be a real good football player.
Yeah, so do I agree completely. And it's like I keep saying this. I you know what I mean? It's because like I'll bring up Nick Bolton's name. I watched Nick Bolton's film, and what I got from it was Tyree Gillespie. That's what I got from Nick Bolton's film. Watching Nick Bolton's film, and I was like, dude, I'm sold on this guy. He had what I was talking about with John Abrams, not as fast. I'm not going to say that as fast, but when I was watching Nick Bolton's film, here all of a sudden Gillespie comes into the screen. You know what I mean? And I like that. He caught my eye.
I wonder how many people were watching Nick Bolton and then Gillespie just stick down on film, because that's the third time I've heard that, and the same thing happened with me. I was watching Nick Bolton when Gillespie stuck out on film. Yep. But I feel like that happens a lot, though. That happened with Isaiah Simmons for me 2 years ago when I was watching Trayvon Mullen. I tweeted out, I said, number 7 for Clemson looks like a superstar. And I didn't know that his name was Isaiah Simmons at that time. I just put the tweet out real quick. And then I went back and looked into it, and then I realized that this guy's a potential top 15 pick, and obviously I think he went 7th overall.
Yeah, man, I wish we would have got him. That was my favorite. That was probably one of my favorite college players. Like, he was one of my favorite college players, man.
Yep. Cool Zay 1995 left a $5 super chat. Yo, go Raiders! Shout out to you, Sanjit T, your brother. LOL and raid the tape. Keep up the good work. Huge shout out to you, man. Appreciate you supporting. My brother, who actually put out his first YouTube video yesterday. Yeah, man. My brother was like, man, I want to come on your show or go live. I want to give my thoughts and opinions. Because he told me, he's like, I think you're overreacting. Like, I don't think Alex Leatherwood's that bad of a pick. And I feel like the more I thought about it, because he told me that the second the pick happened, he was watching us live and he was like, yeah, I don't think it's that bad of a pick. And he was right, man. And I told him, I said, you should just put a video out. And he did, and I reposted it. So I appreciate the fact that you support me, you support Raid, and as well as mentioning my brother. Huge shout out to you, Cool Zay. I really appreciate that. I appreciate the super chat.
Shout out Big Bro, Cool G. Shout out Cool Zay for the super chat. And what's up, Simone Ryder? How you doing, man?
Yep, absolutely, man. We'll get right back into the super chats. Most definitely need a clap for sure, man. I'll hit you up on Instagram. And then we'll definitely collab and we'll see if we can get something going. AD left the $5 super chat. Dylan Moses and Marvin Wilson are still there. Do you think we take one if they continue to slip? Probably not, to be honest with you, because if no other team has taken him, what's the chances we take one of these guys, right? I mean, I guess it's a 1 in 32 chance. I don't think we do, honestly. I think if these guys slip, I don't think they're going to be there, though. I don't think we have a 6th-round pick, right? I think our next
we have a 7th.
We have a 7th-round pick.
We got the 2nd pick in the 7th round.
Oh, okay. So, okay, cool. Yeah, so we're right there, man. And we only have 1 7th, and is that the final pick?
Yep, that's the Raiders. We picked up that 7th from the Niners or something, right?
Okay, I think it is. I think it could be that.
And they traded with the Niners, man. What do you think about that? How do you think that transpired? Because I don't know. It was just crazy that we traded up. I'm still like stuck that we traded up and went and got Morig. I just feel like it's never anything. Just the fact that we got somebody that some Raider fans wanted, I was like, yo, that's crazy. We never get who we want, and we did this time. And not only that, we traded up to go get him. You know what I mean? So and then it was with the Niners. It's like, shout out the Niners for letting us get that for the low. That was for the low too. Agree more. That was for the low. They gave us a good deal. They was like, yeah, we're gonna shoot it to them for the low because we don't want the Cowboys to get Parsons and Morig. We found to shoot the Raiders a deal.
And that's the thing, man. That's such a huge. People don't think about like how big of a deal that is, right?
Yeah.
Now here's the thing, right? You think
you just cut off so many players, or I mean, so many teams.
So do you think if the Raiders were still in Oakland that they would have still done that trade because we're so close to one another? Because people might think about it that are outside of Northern California. the stadiums are at least at one point when the Niners were in San Francisco and the Raiders were in Oakland, it's a 15-minute drive, right? If there's no traffic, like we were right there, right next to each other. And there is a rivalry, right? Like I grew up in Northern California. Like I have half of my friends are Niner fans, the other half are Raider fans, and there's always been that friendly rivalry. I don't know if we would have done that trade, man, if it was still like that. But obviously now we're in Vegas, and I guess we are on the opposite division, so it doesn't really matter, right? I think the Niners, exactly, separate conference, exactly, and for them, the Cowboys are in the NFC, so that would probably make more sense. It benefits them as well more, right?
Exactly. And it was something I was just thinking about. Like, I wonder if that was taken into consideration, because to me, I was like, the Cowboys are about to kill the draft right now. They get Parsons and Moehrig, and then you shoot me the text because I had to get off live to get my son. Like, oh, we just traded up. And I'm like, driving to get my son. I'm about to jump through the damn windshield because, like, what did we trade up for? You know what I mean? Like, we just got off live, then we trade up. Like, what are the chances? And dude, it was crazy. I'm just so happy that we got Moehrig, and then our draft is so dope. You know what I mean?
People don't understand, man.
We got one more pick. Go ahead.
People don't understand. Like Trayvon Merrick's he's a special player. Like he has like Tyrann Mathieu, Budda Baker. Trayvon Merrick is that special player. He could be a top 6 or 7 safety. Trayvon Merrick is a better football player coming out of college than Jonathan Abram was, right? Trayvon Merrick was a better football player than Jonathan Abram coming out of college. For sure, right? And the thing is one went in the first round, one went with the 43rd overall pick. And people don't watch film. People don't follow the NFL the way like you and I might, but he's such a special prospect. He's such a special player. I'm pumped up about it, man. What's Tanner Muse's role here? He was a 3rd-round pick. What's his role in Gus Bradley's system? You know, we just talked about this, that, are there any players that you think could end up cut? Don't be surprised if Tanner Muse gets cut. Maybe not this year because we still need to see what he can do. But, like, if he's a great special teams player, great. But, like, what if he's not even that, right? Like, I don't know what Tanner Muse's role will be because right now, looking at Tanner Muse and the way he's kind of played in college, comparing him to, like, Diablo, who I think Diablo's the better college football player than Tanner Muse, right? And we got both of those guys. And in my opinion, Diablo's the better football player. Now, I don't know if Tanner Muse has somehow, developed over the past year where he's now the better football player. What do you think? Like, do you think Tanner Muse has a role in Gus Bradley's system?
I don't need Tanner Muse is special teams now. He you know what I mean? Unless he comes in and somehow takes Morrow's spot, but then why do we have Diablo coming to play linebacker? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't want to talk about Muse. It was just a pick that we shouldn't have taken.
That's what I'm saying, right? And that's such a high pick. There were so many other players we could have potentially gotten. Thank you, though, for the super chat. Thank all the people that have left the super chat.
And I do hope Muse does well. I do. But at this point, man, I'm not even.
I hope he does well as well. I don't want him to struggle. I don't want him to not be a good player. At the end of the day, we spent a 3rd-round pick on him, right? That's a high-ass pick, right? We thought he was.
What about Bowden? What was his draft pick?
He was a 3rd-round pick.
You know what I mean?
Actually, was Muse a 3rd round? I thought he was a 4th round because I think we got Bowden.
Did we have picks back to back?
But I think we got Bowden and Brian Edwards. No, actually, he was a 3rd-round pick. Maybe we traded up for Muse or we traded back or something. I don't remember, but either way,
Muse didn't play, so he couldn't flash. You know what I mean? He didn't even
exactly
didn't do nothing. We didn't see anything. Muse Bowden both 3rds. Good.
Mo Dizzle left a $10 super chat. Huge shout out to you. Just pretty solid name if you ask me. Mo Dizzle. I love what Mayock said about the picks. Defenses are changing to have players with undefined roles. Offenses can't say that guy is going to do certain thing on any play. Keep quarterbacks, linemen guessing. I could not disagree with that, man. That's the perfect comment to describe all these different players. Like
Good
Merrick,
comment.
yeah, Merrick can play
Good
free
super
safety,
chat.
he can play strong safety. Gillespie can play nickel corner, he can play strong safety, he can play free safety. Abram can play strong safety in the nickel. Dobbs, apparently he's the slot corner. Diablo can play safety, he can play linebacker. You're right, man. Like, no, there's no point of labeling a guy as a true linebacker or as a true strong safety. Let these guys be versatile, right? Let them play in different spots. It's going to make it that much harder for the Chiefs or the Broncos or the Chargers to understand what all of these guys are going to do, right? Could you imagine if on one play you have a guy like Travis Kelce lining up in the slot. On one play, Merrick is lined up over him and swats the ball away. On the next play, Jonathan Abrams up there and pressing him and trying to hit him. And then it's like Diablo comes and he smacks him, right? You're doing all these different things with all these different players. It can't be negative, right? It could only be positive if you have all these different guys playing all these different roles. What do you think, man? Because I love that statement right there.
No, that's a great super chat. That's a great point. I like that.
Absolutely.
I like that. Someone said Diablo pick was in the same vein as the Muse pick, so I'm guessing they don't have confidence in him at this point. Why the heck did we draft Muse? You know what I mean? So that's basically what we were saying, Leon. That's basically what we were saying.
So what do you think the Raiders will get in the 7th? We're right around there. We'll find out, man. It'll be interesting.
And it's like D-Blow was taken in the 3rd also. Safety going to linebacker. It's like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Let's see what happens, y'all. Let's see what happens. I like D-Blow, though. I like D-Blow.
I do, too. So Jalen Twyman just got picked. The Minnesota Vikings just took him. He was one of the highest defensive tackles that I thought of out of this class. At one point, I had him as my defensive tackle number 2. I was really high on him. Who was
your number 1 was Barmore.
Twyman, I like Deo a lot as well from Vanderbilt.
You like McNeil?
There are a couple other guys.
Like Liam?
Say that again?
Liam? McNeil?
Who? Oh, I didn't like him as much because I felt like he was kind of the I felt like he was similar to like Jonathan Hankins. And I didn't necessarily like that for that reason. And I actually watched that pick live. I think it was Mel Kiper or someone was talking about that pick as well. And they said kind of the same thing. They were saying that he's a great run stopper, and that's all he kind of brings. He doesn't really have a pass rush. And I do think that will ultimately be why he might not ever be a great football player. He's a big football player. He'll stop the run. He'll take on the double team. But I feel like he does kind of struggle when it comes to pass rushing. He only had one career sack, right, over the course of his career. And that was a cleanup sack. That was because the quarterback was trying to take off running.
Someone said, what do you think our starting Daniel Rubio Gomez? What do you think our starting D is looking like? I think it looks good now. I think it looks solid. We feel the need at safety for sure. So we got Morig at the top. We got Abram at strong safety. Mullen. I'm keeping Arnett. Over there. I don't know. I'm not really hyped on Douglas or anything. He's just some guy that came over for depth. I don't feed into that. Keep Arnett out there. At linebacker, we know who our starting 3 linebackers are. Morrow, Littleton, Krakowski, and then, like I said earlier, D-line, I would have Yannick, Hankins, Irving, and Farrell. And, of course, guys are rotating in, of course. You know what I mean? All the players we got, they're all rotating in. So
absolutely.
With consideration.
Yep. And I couldn't disagree with any of that, man. Todd Clemens at the $5 super chat. Bruce Irving with Koontz. Like, do you guys think that's what it is? I agree. We talked about that already, that we think Koontz is that Leo. We think he's the guy that's going to stand up and get after the quarterback. And I think Yannick Ngakwe is going to be doing the same thing too, right? I think Ngakwe is going to be –
he's going to be the Leo. He's going to be doing the same exact thing.
Yeah. I think Koontz is more there to, like, develop for maybe the long run, and then Yannick is there for 2 years, right?
Because we still needed that depth at the end, and that's –
exactly.
I wanted to get a DN in this draft because we just needed the depth. If everybody wants to get rid of Carl Nassib, who else are you going to have at DN? You're going to have Cleveland Farrell, Max Crosby, Yannick.
Exactly.
And Exactly. You know what I mean? You can't just, you see what I'm saying? And I do not want Solomon Thomas playing DN. So
I think he gets cut, man.
that dude needs to damn like.
Yeah, man. Did we do enough for interior pass rush? I think we got enough through like the free agency period. At the same time, I think Quentin Jefferson, Kendall Vickers, I think they can fix it. If not, we can address it either via a player that gets cut. At the same time, we can always trade for someone during the season. Yeah. If our defense is close enough to getting us over the top, at that point, you trade away 2 first-round picks if that's what it takes, and go get the best pass-rushing defensive tackle, whether it's Aaron Donald. And I know the Rams aren't going to trade him, but I'm just saying, right? Like, who thought Jalen Ramsey was going to get traded? It took three top 2 first rounds and I think a second to get Jalen Ramsey, but you were able to do it, right? And I'm not saying Aaron Donald is up for trade, but you know there were rumors last year that Quinnen Williams was up for trade, right? And I don't know if that's the case. Go get him, man. Go get 4 first-round picks if that's what it takes, right? If we're that close to being a successful defense.
Yeah, I would definitely want to get a D tackle that's solid because right now when you think about it, who is that, I guess, one tech or that nose tackle that we have that could line up in that A gap?
I think it's Jonathan Hankins.
It's Hankins, right?
Absolutely.
He's on a 1-year deal. He's going to be 30 next year. Who do we have behind him to play that role? You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? We need a D tackle that takes up 2 linemen, and that's what I feel like we need next to really go to that next level. And I think that's kind of why you wanted to get Barmore, because you ain't gonna block him with 1 guy to get to the quarterback, right? So you're gonna need 2 guys. But Hankins is a lot different, not comparing the 2. I'm just saying we need a D tackle, and I think next year, like you said, I would have loved to send. If Buckner was being traded and we could send our first next year, oh my God, dude. I feel like we would be in contention for a Super Bowl without a doubt if we were to be able to get a player like Buckner in the middle of that defensive line. Like, dude, that would be it would be a beautiful thing. It'd be a beautiful day in Raider Nation. It already is a beautiful day after this draft.
Absolutely, man. Our team's so much better. Like, we're so much better already, you know? Huge shout out to you. Lanny's $5 super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Who should we take with the last pick? Who would you both take? Positionally, because the 7th, our last pick is a long time away. I didn't realize that there's 44 picks in the 5th round. There's a lot of compensatory picks. I would either take a defensive tackle or a guard, primarily for depth, maybe a playmaker, which is crazy. We didn't take any offensive playmakers this year in the draft.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I'm okay. I feel like that was kind of what we as fans, what I've heard around is that we want to go defense, right? Yep. And I feel like after we got that tackle, it was a letdown because we wanted defense. But the fact that we trade up from Ulrich and then we just go straight defense again in the 3rd, and then we're just going defense the rest of the way. It's like it's a beautiful thing. And so, like this last pick, I wouldn't even be mad if they see some guard or they see some wide receiver they want. I don't care what they do with this last pick. You know what? After this, I'm gonna cut them some slack. They deserve to pick, reach on whoever they want. You know what I mean? It's a 7th round pick. You're not reaching on anybody here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Raiders Football Talk. Follow him on YouTube if you guys don't follow him. Just search at Raiders Football Talk. He puts out some good content.
Shout out
you give you give the draft a solid B+. I don't disagree with that, and I'll definitely hit you back on IG. But with that, I actually am going to end this stream a little bit early. I want to let everybody know I really appreciate all of you guys. Please hit that thumbs up button before you guys leave. And I want to give a huge shout out to everybody that left a super chat. And I want to give a huge shout out to Raid the Tape for coming on once again. It's 1:30 here on the West Coast. I'm here in California. And I have some things I got to take care of. And I have some film studies that I want to get done before the day ends. So, and I didn't realize how long the 6th round was before we get to that 7th round. And we're looking at like probably close to an hour and a half before we get to that pick. But do you have any final thoughts? And I do want to thank you again, man. I really appreciate you coming on. I know the draft is about to end, but I do hope maybe like once a week we can go live together, whether it's Sundays or like Wednesday nights, like whenever you have time. Obviously, I'll hit you up on Instagram, and then we can get together and maybe like discuss a time. But what do you think about the draft? Just final couple words. How do you feel about this draft?
Well, I just appreciate you bringing me on, man. I love reading. I like reading the comments. Engaging with all the Raider Nation, seeing what everybody has to say. Sometimes they educate me, so I appreciate everybody visiting and commenting. The overall draft, I give it an A.
Absolutely.
I give it an A. Like we filled two needs. We filled two needs. I feel like if we would have got a D tackle that was like legit, then it would have been an A plus. Like if we got a legit D tackle, and then we got Morig and we got our right tackle, it would have been we would have killed it. But the fact we still went out and we picked up an edge rusher like Koontz, we picked up Diablo. I know a lot of people like him. You know what I mean? So I love the draft. I love it. I give it an A. And we got Gillespie, so it's like, dude, what would make this A plus? You know what I mean? What do you give it? And if anybody and everybody that's going to be grading, what would make it an A plus for you? You know what I mean? Like, what would have to make it A plus? Because I've seen people giving A's. It's like, damn, what the hell would be A plus? For me, it would have been a solid D tackle. Like if somehow we went out and got a solid D tackle, it would have killed it. It would have killed it for me.
I could not disagree with you, man. Here's the thing, right? Like, I would have loved to have gotten Christian Barmore or another defensive tackle, right? Like maybe Jalen Twyman, who we could have just gotten, right? He just got picked right now. There's Deo got picked, I think, in the 3rd round as well. But at the end of the day, I'm not mad, and I would give this draft an A as well. And initially when we took Alex Leatherwood, I was like, I'm gonna give this draft like a C minus. But once we got Merrick, that C minus instantly went to like a B plus. And then we started getting Gillespie. We got Diablo, and even Koontz. I never had watched Koontz, and I haven't watched Dobbs yet, so I'm gonna go watch Dobbs as well.
Hobbs.
Sorry, Hobbs. I don't know
Hobbs.
Hobbs. I'm gonna go watch him as well. And yeah, man, I'm pumped up. Again, I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate every single one of you guys that have been here. Make sure to follow Raid the Tape at Raid the Tape. Hit that thumbs up button before you guys leave. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.